new music lounge here on the Earnest Speaking podcast. I'm your host, Earnest EJ Christian, as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of one of my favorite albums of all time. It is the 30th anniversary of Metallica's Load album, very controversial record, of course. And of course, we'll do this here, joined by my brother here at 3CT, 1/5 of 3CT, also the host of the Final Wrestling Place. By the way, you guys think I podcast a lot? This dude's right there with me, brother. Honestly, Tim Taylor. Tim, not the Toolman Taylor with us. Tim, what's going on, brother?
I don't want to talk about how much I podcast.
Why?
Because it makes me feel bad.
Why?
Because I feel like a bad husband. Like,
what you talk, bro?
So I've got the Final Wrestling Place every Monday morning, wherever you get your podcast. We also do 2 Patreon shows a month for that. Patreon.com/Final Wrestling Place. I'm getting all my plugs up front because nobody listens to the
Go ahead.
But I've got those 2. We record, we try to batch record as many as we can, we're going through the history of TNA, starting from the first Impact,
right,
all the way to when Hogan joins, because that's so we've got that. Plus we've got a sports show that we've spun off unchanged called Fake Sports. So we do all that. Got not Final Wrestling Place. Got 3CT plus the Tuesday show, which is awesome. my favorite show. My favorite show.
It's the best show ever, brother. Jim Ray knows that. How I feel about that. So
now, here's the part people don't know. I also produce 2 other podcasts that I'm not actively a voice on.
You know, Tim. There's a word for this, right?
It's addiction.
No. Well, yes, 1, but 2. It's called you're working. You're working on something here. You're building something here. But there's nothing wrong with that, bro.
But I don't get paid for it, so it's not a job. It's a hobby.
You don't get paid yet. You don't get paid yet.
I mean, I do through the Patreon, but all of that money is going back into other stuff.
So,
but everything else is just labor of love.
So I can again. You and I both married. I have children, no. I have children. But look, here's the thing. I have this one show, right? But I put a shit ton of content on this show. There's content coming on this thing 5 days a week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So in terms of the volume, I'm right there with you. You know what I'm saying? I do a show I do a wrestling show every Tuesday. I do a basketball show every week. I do my regular conversations I do. I also have a show with my wife now. I do a Friday. I do a show with my kids now every Wednesday. So, yeah. I'm right there with you, bro. I'm right there with you.
And I see the stuff you do on your shoot job. And those talks.
Which I get paid for the record.
Right. So it's look,
busy man.
I'm a radio kid at heart.
Same here.
I went to college for communications with an emphasis in mass media. I thought that being on the radio was going to be my thing, and I wanted to. And then I very quickly realized that to break it into radio, no offense, but it is a know somebody to know somebody kind of business.
Yes.
Right? And I wasn't trying to break in a super huge market, but I was trying to break into a top 50 market.
Yeah.
It was the bottom of the 50, but it's top 50.
Yeah.
And now that I'm in my late 30s, I'm fairly certain that if there was a radio station around where I live now, which there isn't, everything is in a bigger city and it shoots out. But if there were radio here, oh yeah, I'm jumping. I'm doing it.
Absolutely.
It depends on the format, but I would hey, can I just come on for an hour and talk about nothing? That would be awesome.
It's a passion. I'm right there with you, brother. Same thing with me, sports, and I got into sports media at a very young age, and I did that for a while. Then I got to music. See, the thing is, had I not done music in my late teens, I probably would have gotten into media a lot sooner. So, but anyway, we're here to talk about the 30-year anniversary of my second favorite Metallica album of all time. As you guys know, I'm a hardcore fan, but so is Tim. Tim's also a hardcore fan. In fact, if you go back in the archives, last time you were on this podcast, not the rest of retro pod we do, but we did a pod I think 3 years ago actually. Strange enough, 3 years ago on June, We did a pod together, but one of the things we discussed on there was we I think we ranked the albums, right? Our favorite albums, not including 72 seasons, of course.
Oh, well, that's at the end, so that doesn't matter.
Yeah. So,
that's on the bottom.
but there is a clip of that whole part of that Metallica ranking thing on my YouTube page, of course, Earnestly Pod on YouTube. But we are going to discuss the 30th anniversary of Metallica's Load, which was released actually June 4th, 1996. Before I get to all the numbers and discussion points, and I'm going to rank the songs by personal favorites. When did you get into Metallica? How did you get into Metallica? When did you get Metallica?
Okay, so in this kind of not to tell how the sauce is made, there was SAT level questions that went out by EJ about this very topic. I felt like I was doing a dissertation. I was doing my master's thesis, answering some of these questions. But like the first question we'll talk about, I go into a little bit of it because the question is around timing. So like,
okay,
for me, I did not first hear Metallica until the early 2000s. Like my first Metallica album was Saint Anger. Like not like the first one I listened to, but it's that time period, right?
Yeah.
I didn't quite listen until 2003. Saint Anger drops in that year, early 04 or late 03, early 04.
June 03 came out. Yep.
Second, so it's the second concert I'd ever been to in my entire life. The first being Weird Al, but oddly enough, I got into Metallica through church. I was raised independent, fundamental, Bible believing Baptist church. So very much like and we didn't do Christian contemporary. It was, here's your hymns, stand up, sit down, listen to the pastor cut a 45-minute promo, and get out of there by 12:15. So you had enough time to get food and get settled in for real church at 1:00 football. And so, so you have plenty of time to get all your stuff together. You had enough time to swing by the drive-thru, pick up some KFC, go home, and have that. One of the younger members of the church, but not like my age, who was like the next generation older.
Yeah.
I took an affinity to him. His name's Patrick. I love Patrick to this day, even though our seasons have separated and he's doing his thing, being a loving husband, father, and a great dude. And I'm doing whatever the hell I'm doing over here.
Podcast.
Noted podcaster.
Yeah.
Everybody's got that title. But he was a huge Metallica fan. So every Wednesday night after church, we would jump into the car. He would take me to Sonic, which was like 10 minutes away. Right. We would just sit in the Sonic parking lot, having food after church. And he would take me through the discography. Like I would hear Ride the Lightning and Kill 'Em All and And Justice, Master of Puppets, hearing like Black Album, hearing all these albums. And then like, of course, Load and Reload come up too. But by that point, like I was even like the first song I can really recall listening to is Ride the Lightning, with us just tearing ass down a street. Just, it is the awesome. Best angry driving highway song ever. Just throw Ride the Lightning on and punch it chewy.
Hell yeah.
And so that's where I am. That's like that. Late jumping on, so a lot of like my Metallica love is me digging back in the crates and going through like the 7, 8, 9 albums before Saint Anger to get my appreciation. So
yeah,
I love it.
That's awesome. So like I said, strange enough, my fandom started 3 years ago as well. As almost as old as his album, but my fandom did not start because of Load. I got into Metallica in March of 1996, right? Because I changed schools. I was in 10th grade. I changed schools, in Miami, and I met these guys. I met my friends Leo and Jonathan, and Leo, who I still talk to today. And he's to this day a hardcore fan. In fact, he still travels to see him all the time. I'm talking about overseas. He's that fan. And
some of the best concerts are the ones overseas.
Correct. He went to Amsterdam. He'll send me videos all the time. And I knew who Metallica was, for the record. I had started already drifting into rock music in my mid-teens anyway. But I wasn't into metal. My journey starts from top 40 rock, and then I get into Green Day in '94. I heard Dookie, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And then I think in freshman year of high school, I discovered Rage Against the Machine, their first album, which came out 4 years before that. But I was like, oh, this is awesome. And then I meet Leo and John, mostly Leo, and Leo's obsessed. Leo makes me a cassette tape back then of random songs, both sides to get into. Not just like one album, it's like random songs. But what he would do, he would narrate the songs and then play the song itself. Like he'll play a Wolf of Man, for example. And then and that started the addiction. And then and I think the first album I actually bought was Justice for All. The first song that got to Metallica was The Four Horsemen, actually, from Kill 'Em All. But people always assume that because I was 96, it was Load. No, Load was not out yet. Load came out months after. Right. So by this point, I'm thinking Metallica, Black Album, Justice for All, obviously the early stuff, Puppets, Lightning, and Kill 'Em All. Okay, these guys are awesome. I'm obsessed. But boom. And then the first single comes out, Until It Sleeps, on MTV in May. And I hear the song, like, this is a dope song, pretty cool. It sounds like close to a Black Album song in a sense, Then the album comes out, I'm like, whoa, this is different. Mm-hmm. This is different. This is a little bit soft. But here's the thing, though. I like it. I'm still a new fan, so I like it. So I end up, and from there, I become obsessed. I see him in concert a year later on this exact tour, Poor Tour Me. I snuck out my house to see him, actually. My mom didn't know about it until 5 years after the fact. I was still 16, turned 17. So I saw him April 19th, 1997 for the first time live. Still one of the best concerts into my life. And I have not looked back since, and I've been obsessed. I've seen him 5 times in concert. And they, and this era of Metallica, I'll be honest with you, as being a fan, because I can't compare it to Preload, because I was not a fan back then, but I would still say, for me as a fan, this is still my favorite era of theirs because of the fact that it was the newness of it and the freshness of it for me, So it was the start of the addiction, you know what I mean? And 3 years later, I'm still there. Hasn't changed. You could argue it's gotten worse, honestly.
Yeah, and that, like, going through like my musical journey, right? Like, I'm a kid born and raised 30 minutes outside of Virginia Beach, Virginia, so like a melting pot military town, and I grew up in like a predominantly Black neighborhood. Mm-hmm. The 90s for me was hip hop and R&B.
Yeah.
Like all the good 90s stuff. If you're an XM listener, the Fly channel, that is my childhood. Listening to Fly, that I could put that radio station on all day and listen to every song, and like Candy Rain, give me Whoop, There It Is, give me like any Montel Jordan, like that. And
you're still into it now, right? You're still into that stuff now.
Oh, I listen to almost anything, but like I start there. Plus, my mom is big into like prime country music. So like your Garth Brooks, your Clint Blacks, your George Straits, your Travis Tritts, Randy Travis's, Dwight Yoakam. So like that era of 90s country, plus hip hop and R&B. Then as like I get into middle school through into high school, that's when, so you have to think I'm a little younger than you. So high school for me is 2000, 2001.
Right.
So I'm getting new metal, Korn, Limp Bizkit, Linkin Park, like all those bands. So I'm fully into that. I don't discover Metallica until after new metal, country music, and R&B and like hip hop. I'm all over the place, Jack.
Bro, I'm right there with you. So like for me, music, I mean, to me, music started with Michael Jackson, and it's still to this day. So for me, it's Michael's was actually my exposure to rock music in the first place because he had been working with Slash and Van Halen through the past.
Right.
So that was my first exposure to rock music in the first place, anyway. But I also was raised on hip hop, and I'm still to this day a big hip hop head. You know, not necessarily the stuff today. I'm not a fan of the stuff that's present day, but you know, growing up, of course, and R&B and all that. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. But also me, you know, being in a predominantly black high school, wearing Metallica, and again, wearing Metallica t-shirts as a black kid was weird, but I did it anyway because that's who I was. I didn't give a fuck. You know what I'm saying? I am who I am.
Not so much now. Like now, I wish musical tastes from the 2000s could have been disseminated into the earlier eras of like the 80s and the 90s, because even like when I was coming up, being a white kid who listened to hip hop, immediately like, oh, you just listen to Eminem. I'm like, no, I don't. I know about Machiavelli. Like, don't talk to me about nothing. Like, I got it. Like, Ready to Die is a great album.
Yep.
Biggie was good. Like, literally got all of that. The East Coast, West Coast beef meant something to me. And like, but knowing now as an adult, like most of the things when you're in high school, like if there's one thing I could tell every impressionable child,
tell my son he's going in another year or so. So tell my son,
listen, hey buddy, what you think right now, focus on your core stuff, because likes and dislikes don't matter. Everybody likes everything, and if they don't, they're very closed-minded. Accept people where they are, but like these pockets of like, if you don't like X, you're not cool. Shut up. No. Everything's for everything. Not everything is for everybody, but everything can be for anybody. And just accept that.
Right. The weird thing for me too, also this era, but we'll get to the album in a second, is this is also at a peak time for me where I was a big churchgoer, and I was living in a very strict Christian household where my mom at this point was secular music is a no-no. She was okay with Michael because she was a hardcore fan too. So Michael's the only one that I got to pass on, but Metallica, no. Metallica was a no-no. So when I started collecting my Metallica stuff, back in 1996, 1997, I had to have my neighbor hold my stuff for me so she wouldn't trash it. So, and what I would do is when I see him, I was like, okay, give me load and give me just to down, listen to it. I'll put like 2 CDs in my backpack so she won't touch it and stuff. And whenever she found that, she'll throw it away. So it was one of those parents, and it is what it is. But again, it was such a Metallica for me. I think the reason why I'm so heavy into this band too was because in that era, they were the band, the artist, the band that spoke to what I was going through internally in terms of not necessarily rebellion, but having the rebellious feeling of being able to, okay, there's something more out there that I'm not getting from this church and everything else. And Metallica in some ways informed that for me.
Right. And
this album in a lot of ways did too also. And that era, and the Load era especially too, was such a inflection point for me, because this was the first time I really started to venture outside of other things that I was prior to the first 16 years of my life was, that's cool, but I want more. What's out there?
Right.
And so I think that's why this album means a lot to me. This era means a lot to me. And that's why Metallica Load is, to me, is my second favorite record over there is Behind Justice for All. So before we get to the talking points here, let me run some stats here. Like I said, the album came out June 4th, 1996. It sold 680,000 copies in its first week in the U.S. alone. At the time, it marked Metallica's biggest opening of their career and the highest selling debut of the year in general. It spent 4 weeks number one on the U.S. Billboard 200 chart. It was number one in 23 countries, reaching the top spot in the UK, Australia, Germany, France, and Canada, among others. It went 5 times platinum, certified by the RIAA, representing over 5 million copies sold in the United States. 78 minutes and 59 seconds is the total running time of the 40-track album. This made Load's Metallica's longest studio album to date. It was engineered to hit the absolute maximum physical limit in a single CD that could hold at the time. Because of that CD runtime restriction, the epic closing track, the Outlaw Torn, of course, actually had to be edited down by about a minute to let the album fit on the disc. The total number of tracks written and tracked for the sessions with Bob Rock between May 1995 and April 1996. While the band initially considered doing a double album, they declined to split the material, saving the remaining tracks for Reload, which happened a year later. The entire album was recorded down a half step. This gave him more bluesier, southern rock-infused riffs, a heavier, looser, and thicker texture. The lead single, Until It Sleeps, became Metallica's first and only top 10 hit on the U.S. Top 100 pop chart. It also locked down the number 1 spot on the Billboard mainstream rock tracking chart. So that is the overview of the stats of Metallica Load. Again, this is also coming off their biggest album of all time, which is obviously the Black Album 5 years earlier. So a lot of the hype of this album was because of what the Black Album did for that. So they had all the eyeballs, of course. Very polarizing album, obviously. We'll get to all the talking points here. Let's get to the first talking point here, and that is the culture shot versus the hindsight here. In 1996, the internet went into a tailspin because Metallica cut their hair, wore eyeliner in promos, and traded leathers for suits. To the thrash purist, the marketing felt like a betrayal. Here's a question, Tim, for you. If Load were released today as a brand new project by a major band, how would the internet react? Oh, you're muted.
Rookie mistake.
Yeah.
I was clicking. I got a very loud keyboard. So like I was going through and looking at stuff, and I just didn't want you to hear this in the background.
That's okay.
Just, that's tippity typing. So kind of going back to like the beginning of the introduction to me, like it's tough to say where things were in 96 when like all this was happening in the critical reaction from fans. So it's tough for me. However, going back and listening to the old stuff, like if this were to be done by a major band, I think it would be received pretty well, because what Metallica had going against it was it had this backlog of sound that sounded very similar from Kill 'Em All through. And then you get to a culminating moment in the Black Album, and sonically now you change. To me, the album is really like Metallica in name alone, because it changed so much of their sound. Now, don't get me wrong, there are parts of the album, we'll talk about it, parts of the album give you the glimpses of old Metallica, right? Especially one titular track we'll talk about near the end of the talking points. But the changing of the sound and the physical form, it's not a problem to me. And if you look at other bands that have been around as long as Metallica, they're not the same band. Think of Linkin Park, for example. Linkin Park's a really good example. In the beginning, very angsty, very angry, very contemplative, and now like they still have that contemplation, but now they're all parents, and they have different, like, as they've grown, their thoughts, their wants, their likes, their desires, they all change. And if you've been around for 10, 15, 20, 25 years, you either adapt or you stay stuck in where you are. And it's either you try to adapt and fit into today's musical landscape or the day's musical landscape, or you become a band that's like holding on to their former glory.
Right. I think, to be honest, I'll go further than that, what you said there, because I think you're correct on that. No one's going to give a fuck, because everything is more acceptable now. You got to remember, too, also, because when I remember, and this is why when I became a fan is so important here, because I became a fan literally in that sieve before. Because I wasn't exposed to Load as a fan yet, because I came a fan right before Load came out. There was no clues that they want to do all the stuff they were doing with the image and stuff and whatnot.
Right.
So my image of Metallica in March 1996, before the first single Until It Sleeps came out, was what I was learning from 1983 to present day. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think also, and here's the thing too. Also, I will say, I saw both sides. I saw both sides of the argument. I saw both criticism on both ways. The fans who are hardcore, that's theirs. We're the anti-mainstream. We're anti this. People always say the Black Album was a shift. Okay, fine. Maybe commercially it was, but they were still heavy. Like on stage, they were really no different on stage. They were still pretty fucking heavy. Still Customer Storm. They're just more known, but the music was still heavy. They still kept the edge. Load made the shift in everything, right, in sound and in image, and that was a big difference. And I remember, of course, being able to live it too, especially was crazy because like it was like, okay, I get it, but the music does sound really good. It does sound pretty good though. I get why people are mad, but this is pretty good music though. I mean, why we? But I got it, So
right.
Looking back 30 years, did the shock of the dramatic overhaul completely overshadow the musical merits of the album? Do you think though? I say yes.
I think it's tough because like it's when you Metallica or again, like going back to artists or anything that has been around for an elongated period of time, you start to serve many masters.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, I think Metallica should be praised, if for nothing else, than to take this big swing musically and like realize the Black Album, it's hard to get better than the Black Album. Yeah. It really is. Like from front to back, that's a perfect album, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you go from there, right? And if you're a band that has the artistry like flowing through you, and you're a tinkerer, you always want to improve, adapt, change, things like that. If you do what you've always done, you'll be where you've always been, right? Metallica took a swing with Load. They changed their sound. And even if you don't necessarily like what they gave you, there is some praise to give for taking the risk and trying something different. If for no other reason than like you could rest on your laurels and you could just put out hard for the sake of hard music for the rest of your life, and all of your Metallica fans, your diehards, are going to eat it all up. Mm-hmm. Guess what? They're going to eat it up regardless. You have to grow is to evolve, and
absolutely,
that's all that it is, man.
And I will say, I'm not trying to be biased here. This album does age well. As he gets older, it's like that's a pretty good record. Take away everything. Take away the aesthetics outside of everything else, the haircuts and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. It does age well musically, though. It's really good songs on there, bro. It's really good songs, and that's why I think ultimately the music will always win out, because again, the music will always live out. And like I said, you got to grow. And as a musician myself, I get that, because like as much as I love Justice for All, I don't want to hear 10-minute songs over and over and over and over and over again. I don't want to hear all that shit. I want growth. I want different. So I this is why I always praise them for what they did, and they always took chances. I love it. All right, number 2, Emerging from the Shadow of the Black Album. The Black Album was a commercial juggernaut that completely altered pop culture. The band took a 5-year hiatus. It's not really hiatus. They were touring for like half that. The longest ever at that point before delivering Load. Here's my question. Given that the Black Album was an impossible act to follow, did Load actually stand a chance with the fan base?
It's tough, right? The Black Album to me, is the band putting a pin in who they are, right? Old Metallica ends, or the era of Metallica ends at the Black Album. Mm-hmm. It's the high point. And if you ask me, even though Jason is in the band and he's a part of like those last 3 albums, right? Metallica was still James, Kirk, Lars, and Cliff. Period. And like you could see that from the fans' reaction to some stuff, and like some people are big Jason Newsted heads, and that's perfectly
I'm the cool. I'm the biggest one. If I remember the band,
right?
Time, so,
but if you ask the old heads that, again, like those who question Load, if you ask them who Metallica is, they're probably going to tell you the core four, right? The original four.
Mm-hmm.
Load, to me, because they've kind of staked their claim, they ended on a high note and they went on to tour. They weren't creating anything new. It gave them a chance to, with Load, go in, tinker with the recipe, move the band forward. And like I've said already, the album gives you songs that remind you remind you of the Metallica that you might have known and loved.
Mm-hmm.
But it's their first chance to spread their wings a little bit, fly and do something different. So with the existing fan base, it really all depends. But like, as we even talked about in the 90s, people who listen to multiple kinds of music, like those were like the big music heads. Like if you plop us today, then, oh, we're anomalies. We listen to everything. Where my sound is my sound. This is what I like, and this is what I listen to. And any differentiation from that is gone.
Right, I'm with you. Was the shift toward a looser alternative sound a calculated survival move in a post-grunge world, or a more creative evolution, you think?
I think it's a little bit of both, right? You have to think in the mid 90s, like radio is booming.
Yes.
And radio is a way for you to be heard by a more casual fan base than previously, which was concert going and like people diving into crates and grabbing albums, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yes, you do want to evolve to sound different, right? Like understanding like Kurt Cobain, how long would Nirvana have actually stuck around had Nirvana been like, right?
I've always said that Nirvana would be, by late 90s, would be just one of those bands that had a moment.
Right. And like either your sound changes or your topics change, right? Think of Green Day. You mentioned Dookie.
Mm-hmm.
They keep the same sound, but then they drop American Idiot.
Yep, they evolved.
Every artist who's been around long enough evolves.
Mm-hmm.
Point blank. Look at the Foo Fighters. Silly, crazy, funny records in the beginning. And then they come out with big monolithic tracks like Best of You. And it's like, cool. Like Learn to Fly is real fun. Monkey Wrench is funny.
Yeah.
But they evolve, they change, they get to a different sound as time goes on. So yes, is it some self-preservation? Yes. Did that preservation come at a point in time in which the band naturally were evolving because they literally hit their peak in the Black Album and, had the desire to change? Yes. It's a side A, side B, 6 of one, half dozen of the other.
Yeah, and one thing else, as simple as it is, it's a lot of those things also. But to me, as a musician, I just want to grow. I want to write. I want to try things. It's that simple. I can relate to that. As someone who played in bands for many years, like you don't want to write the same damn thing over and over again. Like it's boring. So it's creativity, So I get it. All right, number 3, the Bob Rock partnership. Unlike the grueling microscopic practice sessions on the Black Album, producer Bob Rock had the band record together in the same room for Load, creating a much more relaxed, jam-heavy atmosphere. So here's my question. How much of the sonic identity of Load belongs to Bob Rock? I say a fuck ton of it belongs to Bob Rock. Because Bob Rock changed, and this goes back to the Black Album, Bob Rock actually, to me, changed everything. The way Metallica approached records and creating records, I think Bob Rock had a massive influence in that.
I get, like, if you're Metallica and you're planning on shifting sound, don't you want everyone in the band to be on the same page? And to do that, it's much easier for the band to get together and be together. And like this album feels very jam bandy. They're all together. They're listening to each other, and they want to make sure that like if you are creating this new era of Metallica sound, right? And previously it was the sound that was forged by the core four, and now you're really taking into account Jason's input. Even though like you look back historically, Jason, he's playing, but he's not present.
Yeah.
He's present here. And they're taking into account, like they're trying to take into account every sound. They're figuring it out. Yeah, that's to me, I think it's of necessity. Bob, in a sports analogy, Bob's the coach.
Mm-hmm.
The players got to play, but Bob kept them one thought, like kept them all corralled in, but the players played.
Yeah.
And that's, to me, I'm gonna give the nod more to good players knowing what they need to do on the court or on the field than the coach who may have to pull a couple of strings to make this all-star team work together.
I feel like Bob, though, in a lot of ways, and James will even credit this for many years, that he opened his mind to a lot of things he would not even dare touch before 1991, like singing and tracking vocals in a certain way, and just all the sounds they were doing. James and Lars wouldn't even dare touch that stuff before 1991, you know. And I think that's where Bob Rock's influence comes in heavy. And there's actually a lot of demos out there too. Also, you probably heard. Some of them I'm sure on the load re-release from last year. But I heard these years ago because they were in the original fan club fan cans back in the day. The very first fan can of Metallica from the fan club was a whole hour of them in the studio. To your point, playing together, just jamming in the studio. And when you hear them playing and jamming, there's some riffs that end up making them records. Like Until It Sleeps, there's the riffs on there. There's a couple other riffs in there that end up making it being songs. At the time, they weren't songs; they're just riffs they were jamming on. So I think that brought the band together. I thought it gave us a new feel to the band, also, which I think was something I think was needed at that time, also too. So, when you listen to the warmer, bluesier tones of the record, do you hear a band liberating themselves from the rigid constraints of heavy metal, or a producer pulling them too far into the mainstream rock territory? Who wins that tug of war, in your opinion?
To me, it's the artist, right? Because at the end of the day, it's like there's a vision that they want to convey, and it's Bob Rock or any producer's, it's any producer's job to help them achieve what they want to achieve. Look back at like Load, maybe the first time they did this, but it got put on full display during the Some Kind of Monster documentary, right? The band is going through another, very similarly to Load, whether you want to admit it or not. Saint Anger and Load are very similar. It's another change. It's a post Jason world in Saint Anger, just like kind of Load is really the first post Cliff inspired sound, right? So they're figuring out the new world. And, you know, James is changing as a person. He's finally getting help for addiction. The band is all together. They're locked in. And aside from Lars's Campbell's soup cans, the worst part of it is Bob Rock, right? Yeah. Like, you take Bob Rock out of Saint Anger and you just record it when Rob's a part of the band, or you get another studio musician, you borrow somebody, it may be a little different. Bob Rock is of the band, but he's not in the band.
He's just filling a hole, pretty much.
The boys are the boys. Load is bluesy, it's jam bandy, and it's in the garage. And that's the players. Like that's them. And Bob is just facilitating it and keeping it in the rails. And I think Bob opened the door, but you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink.
Right.
James wanted to drink. Lars wanted to drink. They just didn't think that the possibility of what they were trying to do was viable.
Yeah.
And kudos to Bob for pushing them in that direction. But it comes down to, how many times have you heard, seen, watched half-hearted attempts at finding a new sound or finding a new vision in all forms of media or sport? How many times do you have a team that's all surrounding one coach? The coach leaves, they bring in a new coach, it's a new feel in the stadium. It's a new vision. It's a new path going forward. There's a reason why shortly after the coach comes in that they start changing players, because some players believe in the old vision. Right. And there's really something to having buy-in. Metallica had buy-in, and that's kudos to them.
Yeah, I agree. All right, let's talk about James Hetfield's vocal transition. Load features some of Hetfield's most melodic, vulnerable, and clean singing. He famously stopped barking his lyrics and leaned heavily into traditional melodies driven by deeply personal trauma, such as his father dying before the release of the album. Tracks like Until It Sleeps and Mama Said showcase a level of vocal vulnerability James has never shown before. Is Load actually Hetfield's peak performance as a pure singer and even lyricist, even if it lacked the thrash aggression? Because I say yes. I don't think it's even close.
Sure. I mean, Metallica does miss, or Load misses a lot of Metallica's bite.
Yeah.
But mentioned before, it's a new era. It's a different time. The hair is cut. Their magnum opus is in the books. Where do you go after a perfect album? Could you have done a blacker album? Yeah. Would that have sold? Absolutely. But what does it prove, right? Like, if Metallica are truly artists, which I believe and you believe that they are, the creative juices flow, and sometimes you want to go out there and you want to take a big swing and you want to try something new. Personally, I prefer melodic James over angry James.
Me too.
Now, don't get me wrong, I love a good yeah, oh yeah, or like all of James's like ad-libs. Ooh, yeah. But you get those. You still get them. But the change is good, even though it may not be for everyone. And it shows range. It also would have sounded weird if the accompaniment changes and the lead vocalist does not. James's singing in the first 5 albums could not have fit on this album in every song. It does in some, but those are also the songs that dip into old Metallica. The bluesy stuff, you can't have angsty James trying to like do that. Like, angry James can't be there for every song.
You can't do fire on the Load.
No, you can't.
Taking away the last 2 albums, Hardwired and 72 Seasons, because I think that's more maturity. He's in his 50s and 60s. Right. Those comes out. This is the one album of James where he is the most confident. Like, obviously, the Black Album, he's doing more to sing, obviously, but there was a uncomfortability at the time. He had to get comfortable to do the record. You get to 1996, he's comfortable. He's ready. Okay, I know who I am now in 1996. I'm now 33 years old. I'm a maturing adult. I'm in a stable relationship. He gets married a year later, of course. But I know who I am. This is who I am. I'm gonna go full blast on that one. And I think this is why I love this is vocally for me, because of all those elements, is why I love this the most for James' vocals, because he's not trying hard. He's being who James Hetfield really is, and this is really the signature of who he becomes and what we know 30 years later.
And you want to know what part of it maybe too, right? And like you think of, again, duration, how long they've been doing it. Load is 10 years, 15 years of them as a band, but 10 years with Jason, right?
Right. Well, 15 with Jason.
Well, no.
86,
86 to 96 is 10.
Oh, no. Also, Load, you mean? I mean, I'm sorry.
Load is 10 years.
Right. No, I think about when Jason left the band. Sorry about that. Okay.
Right. No, Load is 10 years. Load is 10 years from Jason being a part of the band.
Correct.
And Metallica was around since 81.
Right.
James has done a lot of screaming. He's done a lot of vocal fraying. There's a part of this that could be self-preservation on James's part.
Yeah.
He knows that he may have done because in order to sing like that, you really have to anybody can do it for a short period of time. You have to be very technical to do it for a lot. There's a right way and a wrong way to do everything. Even singing the way James sings, there's a right way and a wrong way. Maybe it's self-preservation on James's part. Like, hey, maybe if I scream forever, at some point I'll never be able to scream.
Yeah.
If I stop or if I smatter it in, I double my output. I can save the big heavy hitting for when I do go on tour, right? Save it for the paying customer as opposed to the album, right? Be more reserved. And then when you go out and you're playing the hits, you can tap into the yelling, the screaming, the full-bodied James that we're used to hearing on the albums before.
Absolutely. All right, so let's talk about Kirk Hammett's blues and alternative influence here. On Load, Kirk Hammett shares co-writing credits on 7 of the 14 tracks. He brought in heavy influences from alternative rock, blues, and even country, incorporating a lot of wah pedal work and slide guitar. Kirk's fingerprints all over this record. How do we feel about the departure from his classic blistering thrash solos in favor of the texture-driven bluesy leads we get on songs like The House Jack Built or Bleeding Me?
Simple and plain, it's welcome.
Yeah.
While it's not Metallica's signature, or while like the long solos and the thrashing, that's Metallica's sound. Like when people close their eyes and they think Metallica, they think long epic songs with 3-minute solos and just heavy chunking, right?
Right.
You see a different side with this. And not just a lot of the bluesy songs on this album aren't just some of my favorite songs on the album. They're some of my favorite Metallica songs
ever
across the footprint.
Yeah.
It's not just Load. It's for Metallica in general, right? And we'll absolutely dive into it when we break down the album and rank it.
Right, of course. All right. There was also a double album dilemma. So Metallica originally recorded enough material for a massive double album but ultimately split the songs up, releasing Load 1996 and Reload 1997, so you won't have to back out of headlining Lollapalooza 1996. If you trim the fat on both Load and Reload and condense them to one single tight 10 and 12 track masterpiece, where does a hybrid album rank in Metallica's overall discography? That's a great question. I have a take for this one. Go ahead.
I have a take too. I'll talk to you in November 2027. That's my take.
Why?
Because Reload is November 1997.
Right.
So 30 years from then, I expect an invite back here,
and you'll get
November of 2027 to talk about Reload and for us to make this album.
I feel like we have the same take here. You know why? Here's why. I mean, maybe I could be wrong. We'll see. I totally understand they're both written in the same sessions and all that stuff, but I feel like these albums don't sound like each other at all. At all. I feel like there's a different there's something about these albums that sound different from each other. They're as much as I know they are written in the same space, this and that. There's something about Load that stands out from Reload and vice versa. I feel like Load is more of a creative, when I say creative, more of a bluesy, we've been saying on the show so far. Whereas Reload kind of feels like more of a rock record, harken closer to Black Album. like a song like Feel, for example, a song like Better Than You and whatnot. Whereas Load sounds like a completely different project of its own. Understanding that both albums were written in the same time space, but the sound doesn't sound the same. There's a difference, actually, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. Maybe I was nuts, but I feel like there's a difference between Load and Reload, in my opinion.
Okay, I want to blow up your format.
Go ahead.
Really quick, because I think this makes sense here.
Okay.
The last question of your list talks about the Outlaw Torn. Last track on the album. Right? To me, the Load album, tracks 1 through 13, is Metallica picking influences and picking out facets that they want to have to build this new sound of Metallica. The Outlaw Torn takes them all, smashes them together, and they load the new sound. The Outlaw Torn is that culmination of everything they've done. There's bluesy in it, there's Metallica in it, there's long solos, there's all this. And the Outlaw Torn jumps you into Reload.
That's a good take. I like that take.
So if you listen to it, if you listen to it like a double album, the Outlaw Torn is that page turn from figuring it out to figured it out. And while there's a lot of good stuff on Load, Reload has like a continuity. It's more of a focal sound, more of, like you said, more rock influence, which is Outlaw Torn. And so, to me, Load and Reload, if you you could make 2 albums out of that, but one is going to be your blues heavy inspired concept album.
Right.
And then Reload could be your blacker album, or even the other way, right? Load, you make Black Album 2 with all of your rock songs, right?
Right.
And then Load, the second album, your technically Load is reloading Metallica.
Yeah.
You're figuring everything out again. You're creating this new sound.
That's a fantastic take.
And then it goes out.
That's a fantastic take. But do you feel what I'm saying, though, with the fact that they do sell 2 different records to some degree? Not completely on being passed. But I'm saying that, but like there is a difference between Load and Reload.
They're kissing cousins.
Okay. Yeah. Close enough.
They share the same. It's like a sequel, right?
Yeah,
it's a shared universe, but it's 2 different stories. It's 2 different thoughts. There is an evolution that's there. It doesn't feel like a double album.
Right.
Because like with some double albums, right? It's just think of like, well, I'm trying to think of the Beyonce album that came out that was like super long. Cowboy Carter.
Right.
Cowboy Carter is 2 albums on 1 album. Because you've got Beyonce's jump into country and like wanting to find this mix of country hip hop. And then there's also just the hip hop stuff and the R&B influences from Beyonce. Right. If you split them into 2 albums, they make a little more sense.
Yeah.
You put them together, it doesn't make sense. And that might be where Load and Reload is, where if you make Load and Reload a double album on the same place, right? Disjointed, doesn't quite fit. Split them apart. You can have one be more adventuring and one be more like solid one sound,
right?
Or more uniform in its soundscape.
Yeah,
because they definitely take the influences from Load to make Reload. If you start slipping Reload songs into Load, it's disjointed because you're not getting that journey.
I was just going to say that. I was going to give an example because Fuel does not fit Load whatsoever.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I will say Carpe Diem Baby does fit Load.
Right.
But Fuel does not fit Load. Mary Remains not fit Load, in my opinion. Neither does Better Than You.
Like, I hate to say it.
There you go.
I hate to say it, but like, if you take all the bad albums or all the bad tracks off of Reload and you push them to Load makes sense. And if you take all the good, like, top of the album tracks from Load and you shove it to Reload, then that is a top to bottom great album.
But it also depends on what we conceive as what a bad song is on each record. We may have, we'll find out in a second when we do our rankings on this album.
We will.
Next year, we do next year Reload, anniversary Reload next year.
I mean, I'm gonna make 2 albums. I'm gonna definitely make it like a double album, but I'm also going to like pull a best of album.
Because the thing is, there's 2 ways to do this also. When you do the best of, okay, fine. And first of all, did you ever hear the podcast that Chris Jericho did with that, where he did the Load Reload episode on Talk of Jericho?
No,
he did that a couple of years ago, and he had Frank Kazarian on there and a couple other guys. And what they do, and I do this on my show once in a while too. Also, you go track by track, which is better. But what I started doing recently on my show when I do the album comps is I tell my guests, okay, let's go ahead and let's power rank. Take the album with the highest track, which is Load, this one, and then take the best songs on the record, the 14 best songs based on both records. Now, that's one way you do it. The other way you do it is taking what songs make the most sense for the record. You know what I'm saying? So it's weird. You can do it both ways, but ultimately it's a phenomenal exercise, to actually be honest with you. But check out that episode.
For the listeners to find it, it's called Classic Album Clash, Metallica Load versus Reload, June 24th, 2020.
2020, okay. Great episode, by the way, too.
It's Kazarian, former MLB player Cody Decker, and Jericho.
Yeah.
Debating on like the whole thing.
They also did an episode with Lightning Against Puppets, also, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So, and they did even earlier than that, and they do that clash with a couple of records, other bands too. They put Pantera and I think other people. So definitely, but that Low Reload episode is an incredible episode. So check it out when you get a chance. All right, let's talk about Jason Newsted's bass presence. After being practically mixed out of Justice for All and locked into tight arrangements into the Black Album, Jason Newsted finally got a thick, warm, and audible bass mix on Load. Yet he reportedly felt isolated because his own songwriting ideas were dismissed. Sonically, this is arguably the best Jason Newsted ever sounded on a Metallica record. Let's talk about his bass lines on tracks like King Nothing or 2x4. Does his performance anchor the groove of this entire era? That's an easy answer for me.
Yeah, and not to speak like super basically on this, but if you're gonna shift your sound into something more blues based, bass has to be your foundation.
Without question.
Period. It's not just Jason. Jason's just the bass player. Mm-hmm. Like, the bass, point blank, is going to be featured more. I'm glad Jason got to show off and show out. But to say it's specifically Jason could be misleading. Then that's not taking anything away from Jason. Like, Jason's great. Had Metallica stuck to their old tone, Jason would have just been in the same pocket he's been in for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
And like I mentioned this before, like, to some, the bassist of Metallica is and will always be Cliff. And I bet if you ask the other 3 members of the core 3, James, Kirk, Lars, who's your bassist? You know, maybe they'll say Rob now because he's been around for a while and like they don't want to stir up any stuff, but like Jason's probably the 3rd on the list, right?
Yeah.
It's probably going Cliff, Rob, Jason.
If he has fans though, here's the thing though, if he has fans that question, I think they'll go Cliff number 1 because obviously nostalgia, but Cliff and Jason not far apart because their fans, the fans love Jason, especially live. Live is where Jason is cut his teeth.
I think part of like why people hold on to Cliff though is because of the tragedy of it.
Of course.
And like there's always going to be that what if Metallica didn't have to go through bassists? Like what does a Black Album sound like with Cliff? What does the evolution of sound happen with Cliff? There is some butterfly effect there of like
yep.
The trajectory of Metallica changes post Cliff.
Because to their credit, Tim, to their credit too, also they were already changing with Cliff.
Mm-hmm.
So that change was already happening. You can argue, you can argue just Raw is actually a regression to what they were doing. You can argue that. There's an argument for that actually. Mm-hmm. There's no sanitariums on Fate of Blacks on Just for All. They went balls to the wall and say, fuck this shit. I'm fucking angry. Clip my brother is gone. Let's fucking loud guitars and fucking no bass sound and call it a day.
Right. And you know what? Part of that, like, again, this is like really trying to read through the tea leaves, right? But what if that was a purposeful decision? Like, it is your first album without Cliff. What way to like artistically express that part of your band is missing is if you dampen his part.
Yeah.
Or what his part would have been. And like, this is Metallica. Sure, there's bass, but it's not the same. And you tune everything else up, you tune bass down.
I'll be honest with you. I don't think so. I don't think so. What if? I think that actually happened. I think actually happened. I think they were so distraught. It was less about Jason, the hazing he went through, more about, fuck, we lost our brother Cliff. I don't know how to deal with this. So let's fucking haze this guy, this cuz, by default. It wasn't right. I agree. But you're asking three guys who were in their fucking mid-20s to mature on the fly. And that was not who they were. And in hindsight, they've spoken out and said they regret doing that stuff. They regret it. They've spoken on, Jason was great. And honestly, the band they are today is what Jason always wanted. Funny enough, the band they were, even with St. Anger and everything beyond, is everything Jason wanted. But it took removing Jason for it to figure it out. It's a tragedy, really, in a lot of ways, as a fan of Jason Newsted.
Right. Yeah, and but you know what, too? Like, just as much as Metallica evolved in the first 10 years to get to Load, like, there is something about, and you kind of see it in Some Kind of Monster. Metallica wanted, like, I think part of them wanted to try to make things work with Jason, and unfortunately, they got to a point a little too late. Mm-hmm. And Jason had already made up his mind. He's like, look, things aren't going to change. My wife, the husband has said, I can change. And the wife has heard it too many times. And now the wife's ready to leave. Right.
Yeah.
And he's ready to go to therapy. But at that point, she's already mourned the loss of this relationship. Jason had to go. Like, Jason for himself, he had to go. And Metallica, like, you don't know what you have till it's gone. And they were like, okay, from here on out, we're not going to make somebody else feel the way we made this guy feel. Because you also have to think, too, at the time, James is going through therapy. Mm-hmm. So he's working through his stuff. So he's also seeing how other people can see things through a different view.
Right.
So they're more grounded when Jason leaves. And through the St. Anger album, like you see just from everything from the documentary, they're doing a lot of jam band stuff. They're doing a lot of taking other people's thoughts in consideration. Kirk is writing lyrics for the first time on St. Anger. He's not doing anything else as Arnold. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Arnold making an appearance on the Earnestly
Right.
Speaking podcast.
Yes, right.
And so, like Metallica, like I think there's part of them that wanted to keep Jason, but I think it was Jason who didn't believe in the rest of the band. And honestly, rest of the band means James and Lars, not Kirk. Because Kirk is the ultimate, whatever, dude.
Yeah.
I'm just playing music.
And Kirk would have taken them back. I think Lars would have taken them back also too. I think James was the big wild card, honestly. But also it took James going to therapy and rehab to see what's going on.
Right.
We don't get there without that. Jason leaves the band. They start recording at the Presidio without Jason, without the bass player, and things get worse.
Right.
Now I don't have that punch back anymore to fuck with now, and things are worse,
right.
and they almost break up. So,
Jason, if we record stuff and then I want to listen to something at 4, but you leave and it's 4:05 and I can't listen to anything because you're not here, like I will always recall back to Lars and James fighting over how much work could be done on Saint Anger when James wasn't around.
I agree with Lars on that one because they're equal partners. Okay, number one. Number two,
right?
And I get this is how you know things are bad with James also mentally, because like, how are you, James Hetfield, of all people, insecure in your position in the band? You're the band. You are the band.
Yes.
Lars is just trying to help. That's why I always took Lars' side on that.
He has a
Lars
is a bit of a douchebag. He has some of that douchiness in him.
Mm-hmm.
He's very presumptuous, and also he has his own trauma, because if you watch that, he cares more. He cares so much about what his dad thinks.
Of course. Stock.
And his dad hates everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, if you're going to try to please the guy who hates everything, you're never going to be pleased with what you did.
Exactly.
And that's where Lars was. He wasn't pleased with what was happening because he was hearing the poison influence from his dad. Like he's
Gandalf, bro.
He's Darth Sidious. He's the Emperor hanging off in the shadows. Do it. Like, that's what he's there trying to unlock the dark side of Lars. And like,
absolutely,
really, he just let Lars collect his art, and that's it.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's talk about the Andre Serrano artwork controversy, which is actually at the background of our podcast today. The cover art for Load isn't a graphic illustration. It is a photograph by controversial artist Andre Serrano titled Bovine Urine and Blood, often mixed up with his piece Blood and Semen 3, used for Reload. James Hetfield later admitted he hated the artwork. The cover art was a massive departure for the iconic imagery of Pusshead, or the conceptual covers of the 80s. Did the highbrow, controversial art direction push the weird, not a metal band anymore narrative a step too far for the average fan?
I hate to say it, but if a rolling flame across a black background is considered highbrow, but Lady Justice isn't, it's very confusing to me. If anything, it kind of points into Lars's obsession with high art.
Mm-hmm.
Lars doesn't start collecting art until the early 90s. This is their first album after he starts really diving into art. So this is, if Lars doesn't get a chance to do anything with the music writing, or like he is, but he's not writing any lyrics, he's not doing anything else.
He's arranging only. He's only an arranger. Yep.
Yeah. He's gonna be like, you know what? Like, guys, just let me figure out the album art finally for once. Like, let me just do this, okay? And like, and they're just like, yeah, Lars, whatever. I like it.
So do I.
Because again, you'll look at the first, and really, you want to talk about the biggest highbrow art of the Metallica album, Black Album. It's various shades of black
Mm-hmm.
all together where you can make out the words Metallica and you can see the winding "Don't Tread on Me" snake.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all black. It's just different different shades of black.
Yeah.
That's more highbrow than this bovine urine and blood or blood and semen or the holographic coffin on Death Magnetic or James's 12 heads on Hardwired to Self-Destruct, or like probably the next closest highbrow album cover is the Broken Crib on 72 Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
This is just fire. Fire's cool. Send it.
Not only that, like I
It's
wonder
like
if
a
people,
lava lamp.
I wonder if people don't like it because of what it is. Like if you didn't know it was Blood and Semen, you think it's a pretty cool album cover. I think it is.
It's a lava lamp. It's fire. It's cool. It's lava.
In 1990, Tim, in 1996, I understand being controversial because it's semen. In 1996, we're still slightly conservative in some ways. We're progressing, but there's still a lot of pockets of conservatism out there. I get all that. Today, no one gives a fuck about this shit. This is nothing to society today.
It's art. It's just art.
Right. But 96 would be like a big deal. But I always love the album cover. In fact, it's probably my favorite album cover of theirs, to be honest with you. It's up there. It's up there. You know what? One day we do an episode, we should rank album covers.
Okay.
That's an episode in itself right there, buddy. Honestly.
It is.
So, all right. Let's talk about Lollapalooza in 1996. So Metallica made the unprecedented move to headline the alternative rock traveling festival Lollapalooza in 1996. Both metal purists and indie alternative festival goers were highly skeptical of the pairing. Looking back at poor Tour Me era, of course, when I saw him live for the first time, did headlining Lollapalooza help Metallica successfully pivot into the broader 90s alternative rock landscape, or did it just alienate both sides of the aisle? That's a good question, because I remember this being a big fucking deal back in the summer 96, bro.
It is, and it's the one that I had the most thoughts on when I was writing down my.
Like, oh, really? Okay.
That was my thoughts.
Okay.
So
okay.
You're never going to make everyone happy 100% of the time. And like I've talked about it a little bit in my like coming up radio, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
In the world of programming, whether you're talking about radio, you're talking about TV, you're talking about podcasting, even the word of the day is cume. Cume. It is short for cumulative. Nobody grows by reaching the same people every day. Yes, there is a place to actually reach out and be true to your core fan base, your diehards, and Metallica does that. But Cume does not care. Cume is every unique listener, which means you have to, one for one. Every diehard counts just the same as every first-time listener. Mm-hmm. Do you want to know how you grow? You make the first-time listener a diehard. Then, when you make something else, you get another first-time listener. And if you don't reach out to new people, eventually the old heads are going to get sick of it. So you'll lose an old head. And if you don't have a new fan to replace the old head, your fan base dies.
That's an amazing analogy, bro.
There is a need to grow, period. And like, let's take a look into professional wrestling. Another topic you talk about, and I know this is the music podcast.
Yeah, of course.
But like, WWE's been around for over 50 years, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of diehards, myself included, I'm a little alienated for one reason or another, right? Is it because they're the creative viewpoint in the actual wrestling space? Is that what's got me in my feels? Is it their outwardly appearance on things that are outside of the ring that didn't matter to me, but now they do? Could it be? Is it their hesitation to actually try something interesting and do something with new and fresh talent? Possibly. Is it that they cling to life, the hold of whatever nostalgia, they're wringing out the dripping rag of nostalgia to get everything out? They can't, like, whatever it is. But I don't fault the WWE for trying every trick possible to grow their cumulative fan base, because they know their fan base isn't just the people like me that have been here since day one. It's also the kid who just heard about the WWE because I Show Speed or KSI or Logan Paul or Jelly Roll or anybody else is bringing eyes that don't normally look at the product there. And that's the gateway drug. And then they stay for the stuff that the diehards actually love. And that's what Metallica did.
Mm-hmm.
They go to play Lollapalooza and they play the hits and they make their diehard fan base love them and want to see the next thing. And then you give them Load, and Load is something completely different.
Mm-hmm.
And it overall, it grows the group. Sure, you lose some of the original fan base, but you add so much new to that what you end with is bigger than what you started with.
So that is, you explained it perfectly. It's funny when you mentioned wrestling. I was thinking about AEW, the other promotion, major promotion here in America, and that why they'll never reach to where WWE is going to be or at currently is because they cater only to who their core audience is. The problem is that that audience will eventually stop watching. Not all of it, but a chunk of it will, and they don't cater to a wider scope. They don't cater to families. Like I said, I use the analogy all the time with I'm comparing Metallica to what a normal band would be. So the wrestling analogy is perfect for this. I'm a family of four. Me, my wife, my two kids, 13, 9 years old. When we go to a WWE show, WWE is guaranteed to get 4 tickets because all my kids are into it. I'm into it. My wife likes Roman Reigns, obviously. So, you know what I mean?
And can't be wrong about that.
AEW, however, there's a limit there because while I love the product, I don't find their material appropriate for my children. Therefore, they're not getting 4 tickets. They're getting maybe 2 at most if she decides to go with me. And you don't grow doing that. Same here with Metallica. There's certain bands who stick to a certain formula, and yeah, you care to your base, but at some point it gets old and, as we say, stuck. So therefore, how you doing, buddy? Metallica made a decision to make decisions to grow their band. So
yeah,
that's why. What are they doing?
Where Metallica is, though, they're giving you both sides, right? They're giving you that old sound in glimpses,
right?
But then you're also bringing in a new sound. And the problem with the analogy I brought up with WWE is like, while AEW doesn't really cater to families, WWE has turned into the mega church.
Yeah.
Where every sermon it's all God is love. You come in, you get your daily your weekly dose of serotonin, and here's why God loves you. Oh, by the way, here's tithe 10%, give it to the church. Right. If WWE tried to be more edgy,
mm-hmm.
they could pull from AEW. Mm-hmm. If AEW tried to be more catering towards a younger audience, they would pull from WWE.
Bingo.
But that's why in a world in which there's alternatives, right? In the scheme of things, Metallica is a wrestling promotion, right? And the overarching scope of it is professional wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Rock music is here.
Right.
Metallica fits under rock music, but are you a metalhead? Do you listen to mom rock? where do you fit in the rock music genre? You go through, like, not so much anymore because stores like Best Buy, even FYE, like
Mm-hmm.
tons of stores have gotten rid of their physical music displays. But go to like a record store, or like even like pull up a rock playlist on YouTube Music or
Right.
Spotify or Apple Music, right? And look at the differing artists that all fit under your same genre. It's all music, it's all rock music, but it's all different.
Mm-hmm.
What's your lane? Where are you at open sonically? Like, what do you listen to? Like, if you listen to everything, you'll listen to everything. And if you don't, and I like one band, one sound, this is it, drumline style. And like, this is what I like. Metallica's venturing out isn't going to be for you. But Metallica
You
owes
know,
it to themselves, and other artists
right.
owe it to
Absolutely.
themselves to try something different to grow.
You know what artist did the same exact thing, but at an even bigger level, was Michael Jackson, coming from Motown, certain sound, boy band, mostly black audience. You create Off the Wall. Off the Wall is a it's a pop, it's a disco, it's a pop record, but it's more catered towards more a certain audience.
Right.
Then you put out Thriller. Thriller in this analogy is the Black Album.
Mm-hmm.
Thriller is the biggest selling album in the history of music to this day. Okay,
I'm gonna,
and then
yeah,
and then now, so you have people now because now you're bringing in, okay, for example, yeah, you still have some of the stuff they did from Off the Wall, and but then you bring in, you do a rock song and beat it. So now you're pulling in a rock people. Man, this is Michael Jackson before in the past, and now they're buying the record because of that song or whatever. Okay, and then his base grows now, not just a national icon. Now he's a worldwide icon. So now you're having different colors and races of people into his music now because the music is growing. And now, if you listen to all Michael's records, the last 3 or 4 records before he passed away, there's something for everybody. There's a classical song, there's a rock song, there's a pop song, there's an R&B song. Metallica did the same thing here, essentially with the music here in a small level, because comparing the two artists, where they're now doing stuff that are catering to not just the metal audience, but to a rock audience, to a alternative audience, to even people who may not even be into rock, but might like Until It Sleeps. It's a good song. And maybe that pulls them in. And that's the art. Same thing with WE and AEW. The analogies are out there. This is nothing, like Metallica didn't necessarily, change the needle here. They didn't reinvent the wheel here in a sense. They only did something that many artists and many people and all forms of businesses do all the time. And they did successfully. Yeah, there's some jump off, sure, but they probably gained more new fans in those years too. Also,
here's what's interesting, and this will be the last point I make.
Yeah,
Metallica's not even the first rock band to do this.
Mm.
Well, some would say Metallica's like the biggest American rock band. Like they are the band. Who was the band before Metallica?
Aerosmith. Was that right?
They're the greatest band in the world. Kiss.
Oh.
Kiss has this.
That's
image.
right. Yes.
They got the hair. They've got the paint. They're gimmicked out. And what do? After 10 years of being together, they take the paint off and they start doing ballads. And they don't. And guess what? There's the fan base. They're like, bring me back the Catman, bring back Kiss. Yeah. Right. And then guess what? There's some people who are like, man, I only want to listen to like unfaced painted Kiss.
Right.
That's low. That's a preload and a post-world Metallica. It happens. So every time is a flat circle, EJ. Stuff that happened yesterday will happen tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
1,000 years ago is tomorrow. Everything is here, and just know that regardless, everybody's just sitting on a porch drinking sweet tea, watching the fireflies. Okay,
exactly.
That's what it
Exactly.
is.
Absolutely. No, you're so right. You're so right. All right, last talking point here. Let's talk about the song we mentioned earlier, The Outlaw Torn. Clocking at nearly 10 minutes, The Outlaw Torn is the epic closer of the album. The band actually had to chop off the final minute of the song's outro just to make it fit onto the maximum 78 minute and 59 minute, 78 minutes, 59 seconds runtime of a physical CD. Now, here's a question here. Is The Outlaw Torn the absolute crown jewel of the Load era, in your opinion?
Beauty is in the eye of the beholder.
Right. But fair enough, they have a song called I Beholder Rolls too.
Yes. and like, while I think my wife is a stone cold fox, there's also people who think she's the ugliest hose beast in the history of the world. And while I think they're absolutely wrong, their opinion is their opinion. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. I got mine too, right? And I treasure everyone's opinion. To me, kind of what I talked about earlier, the reason why Outlaw Torn gets so much love is because it reminds people of old Metallica while giving you just enough of the new stuff to make it mix.
Right.
And that, like, so is it the crown jewel of the Load era? It's not my crown jewel. But I can see where people can say, like, if you're following the vision and the sound of what Metallica is trying to become from Load, this is it. I can see that.
Yeah, it's a great song, man.
Especially if you want to hold on to the older Metallica and you don't want to let it go, but you want to change it a little bit. This will give you that. Because this gives you your blue, it gives you your bluesy, it gives you your slowed down, but it also gives you like one of the longest solos in a Metallica album that isn't a full-on instrumental.
Right.
Like the end of the song is literally just them jamming out for the end of the song for like 4 minutes.
Yeah. So that being said, does this track prove that even when Metallica dropped the tempo and changed their style, they were still capable of writing a massive, progressive, emotionally heavy epic?
Yes, and I don't think they've ever lost that.
Yeah, even on the new album, they did that in the Murata.
Right, like it's.
Which, by the way, I'm asking a question. Quick sidebar. When we recorded 3 years ago, you were still on the fence with 72 Seasons. We now have 3 years now since then. Where are you on that album now? Real quick.
Don't like it.
Still no? Okay, never mind. Okay.
It's just, it's... I think, and I understand that 72 Seasons is it's a story album. Like, it's a thematic album.
Yeah.
I'm just not... It feels too scattered for me. And maybe I need to go on like just a long road trip and just put it on. Like, no, I'm going to be in the car for longer than like 90 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just play it and just see what happens. But like,
I will say I've settled on the album now because remember when I was excited about it, but remember at the time when we did the podcast, the album was literally 6 weeks old.
Yeah.
So I mean, the newness of I had the same problem. I had the same Saint Anger at the time when Saint Anger came out. Oh, I get it. Everybody hates the sound, but it's a new album. I love it. And then as time goes away, you have time to let it settle, let it simmer, let it settle into the rankings. That's why I'm glad I didn't read ranking at the time, because I would have overranked it at the time. Because now it's not in my top 4 or 5 albums. I love the album for what it is, but I'm gonna put it ahead of Load, for example, or even the Black Album for that matter. So, but yeah, to your point, yeah, they were capable. They still do this. They did this on Reload, Fixer. I think Fixer is on level with Outlaw Torn, in my opinion, in terms of like epic songs. Different, but I love Fixer. So yeah, I mean, yeah, they definitely they've never. That's one thing about them. They never lost the ability to do this things like this. So you're right about that. All right, let's get to the rankings here. So Load has 14 songs, and we're gonna rank our favorite songs based on our personal preference, not based on what we think is the best or whatever, or commercially feasible. What we think, personally, Tim or EJ, believe are our best songs on the record. So I like all 14 songs for different reasons, but there's some more than others, obviously. So Tim, your 14th favorite song on Load is what?
An album, a song that shouldn't even have been made in the first place. Cure.
It's close. It's close.
Get out of here. Off the album. Kick it off. It doesn't even make sense. I don't like it. I listened to it 3 times for this podcast. And I hated it more every time I heard it.
So you hate that song, actually?
Cure goes away.
Oh, no, that's
if I could load it into a cannon that could shoot it into outer space,
it is close.
Gone.
I was very close to putting it on my 14, but Poor Twist of Me is on 14 for me.
Okay.
Granted, it is a creative song for what it is. It's just
right.
That's a bit more of a B-side, a thing. Hey, this didn't make the album, but here's a song I'll throw at you guys. It's for funsies. It's not album quality for me. So, and I know that's James Gillen's blues and country, background. I get it, but come on now, bro. So Poor Twist of Me is number 14. So what's 13 for you then?
This might be, I don't know. Might be controversial, may not be. House of Jack built.
Oh boy! Oh no! We're gonna have a conversation about that one because this one is ranked much higher than that.
Yeah,
it's gonna shock you actually.
House of Jack built does not do it for me. Like I get it. Like I don't hate it. Like this is definitely not a place of hate, but it's like this feels stock. This is stock. It feels like it's trying to be different things, but it doesn't hit for me, doesn't lock in.
I get it. It's not for everybody. That's not for everybody. That's for darn sure. 13 was Cure. Cure was at 13. It was very close.
Okay.
And honestly,
all right.
Looking back in hindsight, I may swap these songs sometimes. Like these bottom two for me could be swapped anytime. Because again, another song that B-side, a bonus track, not an album.
Yeah.
Agreed. Like if you're doing a reload like compilation, these don't make the cut at all.
If you want to cut this album down to a 10 to 12 song track, 12 song list.
Yeah.
Those are the ones you cut.
Put it this way. So like, they say they had to chop a minute off of Outward Torn. I'd rather get my minute back of that song and fucking took out one of these songs to make it happen.
Cut Cure.
Yeah.
Gone.
Okay. Number 12 for you.
12 for me. All right. This is going to piss people off too.
I know. You better not say that fucking song, bro.
To me, let me hold on. I want to get to the right thing. I want to just make sure I'm right. Okay.
I'll
to
say
me,
okay. Good.
It's Thorn Within.
I get it.
Thorn Within for me.
Thorn Within Once Upon a Time was my first song on the album years ago.
Right.
1997. Because of the lyrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I agree.
Musically, like if I don't feel it in that sense, I'm not going to I don't care what. At that point, it just becomes slam poetry over a bad song.
It's weird because this is my second favorite Metallica album of all time. But there's a lot of fucking filler too.
Boy, the top 6, my favorite 6 songs are like, they may be some of the best my favorite Metallica songs.
Yeah.
Like, especially top 4, like top 5. Like 6 maybe could skip out, but like, yeah. Yeah.
12 for me is Ronnie.
Okay. We're going to fight.
It's not a bad song though.
We gonna fight.
Well, dog in his pocket, it all falls down now.
You gonna hate me.
I don't mind Ronnie. For the record, Ronnie has a place in this record. I'm not gonna say it's not
right.
pure.
Ronnie absolutely does.
It should be here. If you're trying to equal the Black Album and the 12 songs they had there, it makes the cut. Be clear about that. But
yeah.
And in fact, I'm looking at my list now. I may do some last minute swapping here because some songs here I'm like, oh, you know what, maybe a little higher than that actually. So, but yeah, Ronnie number 12 for me.
Okay.
All right, number 11 for you.
Is Poor Twisted Me.
Okay, that makes sense.
It's not high. Like, it's bottom half of the album for sure. I like the music better.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a swap here because I feel different about some of these songs now. You know, we're 11 now, right?
Yes.
Okay, 11 for me is going to be Thornton.
Okay.
Thornton, at one point for a summer, was my favorite song on the album. At one point.
But you're not that same kid anymore, EJ.
Exactly. It's a little emotional for me, but I have to also look at it logically as well too. Also, so yeah, I think yeah, Thornton number 11 for me. I just think that's it's a filler song too. Also, at the end of the day, right. Like if I'm saying give me your best work, give me your best stuff. It's not the best stuff. It's a good song. It's not your best stuff though. So yeah, I gotta go with Thornton 11. Being even though I have a affinity for the song though in terms of my history and whatnot, but you know, it is what it is. All right, go ahead. Number 10 for you.
First song on the album, Ain't My Bitch.
Wow, I'm a little surprised at that actually.
It's a great first song on the album. And like it gets me in there, but then as I listen to the rest of the album, all I'm saying to myself is, this is better than that. This is better than that. And this is better than that. And this is too. But none of those other songs could be the first track on the album. Like,
but they needed a punch.
Exactly.
And that intro is a punch.
It's a great first song on an album, but to me, it's the 10th best song on the record.
Understandable. Number 10 might be a little controversial, actually.
Okay.
And I do love this song, but maybe it's number 10 because on a certain day I don't care to listen to it. King Nothing.
Okay.
It's a good song. It's a very good song. I love the riff. Yeah. And as a Newstead guy, I love the bass intro, of course.
Yeah.
But certain days is like okay. But there's some days it hits well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but King Nothing for me is number 10 for me. Like I said, it's a good song. It's okay live. But you know, it's one of those. It has to hit in certain days.
Right.
So, all right, number 9.
Wasting My Hate.
That's also my number 9 as well. We got a match.
It's a fair song.
You ever heard it live?
No.
They play live. They play live at my show in 7.
Okay.
So it sounds pretty good actually.
I don't doubt it. Metallica can play anything.
Yeah. Yeah, they it sounded good. I was there's certain songs they do live I don't really like. I'm surprised. You know what song I really can't stand live they do? I'm gonna shock you. Fuel.
Okay, yeah. Well, the reason why I don't like it is because that is the crowd participation song.
Yeah.
Like it's a crowd pleaser song.
It is.
And like, and to me, honestly, a lot of Fuel, when I hear Fuel, I don't think Metallica, unfortunately. I think NASCAR.
Okay.
That's all I hear.
Well, for me, it's all musical. The main riff, it doesn't translate heavier. Before they get into the not that part, but the one before that. The riff sounds amazing on the record.
Yeah,
it sounds. But when they do it live, it's not as. It's a weird little tick as a musician. It doesn't translate as heavy live as it does on the record for me.
Right.
Anyway, that's why I have a love-hate with that song, studio-wise versus.
More on that November 2027.
Yes, that's right. All right, number 8.
Number 8. Until It Sleeps.
It's a great song though. It has aged well actually.
It does. It's a timeless Metallica song. I can I could easily slate it into my top 4 at any point, but
Yeah.
that's based on mood. Like,
Yeah.
it depends on where I am. Whereas the other songs above this are songs I can listen to whether I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm angry, I'm chilling at the barbecue, like I'm sitting by the pool. I can listen to a lot of other albums or a lot of other songs on this album, but until it sleeps, I gotta be in a headspace. Even though the song gets really heavy at certain points, it's a lot of what people bashed it for, like the light melodic, almost like lullaby-ish sound for Until It Sleeps, which makes sense. But yet again, 14 songs on the album. This is the middle of the road song of all of them for me. Like
It's
right
funny
in the
because
middle,
like
number 8.
to me, it's a very solid song. It really is. Well, I'll get to it in a second. Number 8 for me, I actually went up actually because I didn't really think about this. Mama Said. It's
We'll
actually
talk about that
song.
in a second.
That song actually is when at first I heard it's like, I'm not a big country guy necessarily, but if there's a song that kind of got me maybe into the country just a little bit, this song did it. If you want to get into country, this is a good version to do it because James Hetfield put his heart and soul in this one. You know what I'm saying? So it's really, and I do play this song quite often actually when it's on. If I play the CD, I'm not, put it this way, this is not a skip for me. If Mama Said comes on, I'm gonna listen to it.
Yep.
So, all right, number 7.
Mama Said.
Okay, so we swapped it.
The song hits different coming from a place of losing your mother. Unfortunately, I'm a part of the Dead Mom Club.
Oh man.
And so hearing this song, it's really good to hear songs of like positive affirmations of like hearing, like thinking of a time in which like you remember fondly about like any loved one, like any songs that talk about the experiences of someone who may have passed, right? Like even if you think like Boys to Men, like I'm trying, like there's all these songs that are flooding my head, but I can't think of exactly who does it. But like, but all of those songs, if you live that experience, it helps ground you a little bit, because sometimes with the hustle and bustle of everything, you kind of forget, you lose perspective on like where you've been. You're so focused on where you are.
Right.
And sometimes you just want like a little chicken soup and you want to feel warm. And like hearing James sing about what his mom said and like where she thought he was going to be, like it's like, oh, my mom thought that too. We're good. This song, just like you, I would love to hear a country rock band. I would honestly say here, I know I have a lot of pull. Zac Brown Band. Listen up. You want to do a cover album? Cover load. Give me a traditional, more country, less rock version of this entire album where they can really lean into some of the bluesy country stuff.
Strip it down a lot. Yeah, strip it down.
Yeah. An acoustic album of this?
On my way. On my day.
You'll slow it, like you can slow it down. Incorporate the banjo. Like, give me some banjo. Give me some,
Having said that, and I know you agree with this, I will take Lil Man's lyric over that song any day of the week.
Oh, well, wait till we get to November 7th, November 2027, and that's on the top of my list for
number
reload.
1. Yeah. Yep.
Number 1 on reload. All day.
Yep. It's up there for me too also.
No chance. Everything else is number 2.
Yep. All right, so I'm gonna preface real quick that my top 7 here at any time could be a top 3 song for me in this album.
What did you have for 8?
I had Mama Said.
Oh, you did have Mama Said. Okay.
Yeah. So did you do 7 yet? You did 7, right? Mama Said, right?
7 is Mama Said. So who's your
Right.
7?
Okay. So like I said, my top 7 going forward.
Okay.
Any of these songs can be my top 3 any day. So this is where the album really for me splits apart now.
Okay.
All right. Number 7 for me is Until It Sleeps.
Okay. So our 7 and 8 switched.
Exactly. So again, Until It Sleeps when it first came out, a little bit of a shock about because like okay, really Metallica, this is it. Okay. But 30 years later, just judging the song, it's a great song actually.
Yeah.
It's a great radio friendly song because it has every element. There's a melody in there, but it's also heavy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So it gives you everything you need for a rock song that a band that's growing and trying to show you they're expanding their palette. Hey, we got this for you and this for you, this for you. So every Metallica, every fan of Metallica, anybody like Metallica of any era can appreciate the song, I think, honestly.
Yeah.
So that's why I go ahead. It's
in the same vein of like your Unforgiven. It's
Sandman's.
In the same. Yep. It's there. Like it's the thoughtful, contemplative, like vibey song that like changes up and punches you in the mouth real fast.
Yeah.
And then goes back into hiding and then lulls you in and then punches you again.
The vocals, Jason's vocals in the song is amazing, I think.
Yeah.
Pull me out. So all right.
Yeah.
Number 6.
2x4.
I love that song actually.
It's bluesy as hell. I love it. Like this is so good. I love 2x4. More of a deeper cut than like I think it should be. I think it should get a lot more love. This is one of the Kirk songs.
That's right. That is correct.
So, like, I love it. I love 2x4. I love everything about it.
Yep. I love that song too. Like I said, my top 7 could be in the top 3 any day of the week. So it's not a knock on anything.
Right.
It was low on this list is only because of the fact that today I'm feeling like this.
Right.
Number 6 is Hero Today.
Okay.
Great song. Great video. It's a song that's always spoken to me. It's one of those songs, man. I really appreciate it. So here, number 6 for me. Nothing more to be said on that one. All right, number 5 for you.
Number 5 is King Nothing.
Okay.
To me, sometimes the singles are the singles for a reason. They're earworms. They lock you in.
Yep.
There is just something about like, especially like as a wrestling fan, like wrestling fans definitely have like the connection between music and like visuals. King Nothing is like a fan music video of like Stone Cold Steve Austin or like, and like just the just the trudging pace of this song. It's a very ignorant stomp the whole way. And like, I've always like the anti-authority of it of like, where's your crown? Like you think you're hot. What does it mean? You're nothing. At the end of it, you may be the king of somebody, but you ain't the king to me.
Right. Honestly, if I had to do it over again, I might move it up maybe one spot. Honestly.
Yeah.
But like I said, King Nothing's one of those songs, but it has to be in the mood for it though. All right, number 5, right?
Yeah, that was number 5.
All right, 5 for me is 2x4.
Okay.
5 is, 2x4 songs. 2x4 once upon a time might have been a top 2 or 3 song for me. And it could be sometimes. It's just one of those songs where got me mood for it, but I love the swing. It's a great song. I love it live too. Also, I remember they debuted the song live the year before they released the album. They did like a little couple of shows in Europe, and they played at I think at Donington at '95, and it sounds so heavy. Right. Jameson's mullet and shit. All right, number 4. Who do you got?
This is the Outlaw Torn for me.
Aha. I'm not surprised. I thought it'd be a little higher for you actually. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. We'll see. 4 for me is "Ain't My Bitch." I just love how heavy the song is, bro. "Ain't My Bitch" is just like punching the fucking mouth every time, live and on the album. You know, like if you're a Metallica fan and you like hate everything else they did, you can't be an old Metallica fan and not like this song though. The song just gives you those elements of like the fucking punch in the mouth and the gut kind of thing. You know what I mean? So, and it's them lowering your wing. Hey, it's something different coming in, but first let's give you the happy shit first, and then we'll give you all the blue shit on the middle of the record. Right. So the sequencing was smart here. Let's go ahead and just give them the punch first, thinking it's gonna be another Black album, but now they get 2x4
for sure.
So, all right, 3. What do you got?
3 for me is "Hero of the Day."
Phenomenal song. 3 for me is "The Outlaw Torn."
Okay.
And honestly, there's a case for number 1 for me, but my number 1 is arguably a top 3 Metallica song all time for me, arguably. So we'll get there in a second. But "Outlaw Torn" is an amazing record. You know what version I really like though more than anything else? The S&M 1 version. That shit. I think that was the version that really sold me on that. When they did it in the symphony for the first time, I'm like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Because those elements are even pushed out more when you add the strings to it. It's amazing. So that's 3. Okay, number 2. I'm probably going to shock you in a second. What's number 2 for you?
I already know where your number 2 is because I think our number 1s are the same.
Okay, what's number 2 for you?
My number 2 is Ronnie.
You are a big Ronnie guy. Put a gun in his pocket. It all falls down.
It's really the. It's like it's in its pocket. Like,
yes,
you could take the lyrics out of it, and I could just feel myself moving to it, walking to it, doing like, give me an instrumental version of this in like a bar fight in a movie. Like, to me, I love it unabashedly. I understand that it's not for everybody. You had this 12. That's what I was like, as soon as you said it, I was like, we fighting. Because to me, like, Ronnie's higher for me. But I also love, like, it's coming from a dude who loves Low Man's Lyric, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not very critically acclaimed, but for me, like, it's there. It gives me just, it hits all the right synapses in my brain.
Yeah, I get it, man. Like I said earlier, it belongs on the album without question. It's not like Cure and Poor Twisted Me.
Right.
Number 2, you already know what number 2 is, right?
2's House of Jack Built.
Correct. There was a time, it was a time for a very long time where that was my favorite song on the album. I fucking love the song though. The darkness, the dark, sinister. Open my eyes. Does it have them closed once again? It's just so dark and evil, and just it just stays the same tempo the entire way. It just gives me it's this album's Devil's Dance.
Mm-hmm.
You know
Which makes sense because it's in the same spot.
It is in the same spot. Track 3, correct?
Yeah, it's right. It's like it's right there. So
yeah, it's so sinister.
But that means the number 1 is the number 1, and it's like the consensus number 1 from whatever, like everything I've seen anybody talk about. Number 1's Bleeding Me.
Yeah, and Bleeding Me is arguably a top 3 to 5 Metallica song all time for me.
It is.
Just throwing in my side.
Right, like
from the tree. That little transition. Just throwing in my side. It's from the tree. That part there.
Yeah. It's Outlaw Torn definitely mixes everything together, but Bleeding Me does it too. Again, another Kirk song on the album. For the Metallica heads, the songs that Kirk was on: 2x4, House of Jack Built, King Nothing, Hero of the Day, Bleeding Me, Wasting My Hate, Thorn Within.
They co-wrote, right?
Yes. So like, and if you look at our top list, like Bleeding Me had Kirk, Hero of the Day had Kirk. That was the
Mhm.
top half of the album. Outlaw Torn, not so much. King Nothing, we're split on.
Mhm.
2x4, we're right in the same pocket.
Mhm.
Wasting My Hate, we're in the same area. We're like middle bottom, or like top middle or
Right.
lower middle.
Mhm.
The only thing we're really split on, I think, is Thorn Within. Or no, we both had that low.
Yeah.
Thorn Within, we
I
had low.
but I did change it in real time though. I did lower it in real time.
Yeah. So it's like, but even then, it's still the
This could have
bluesy
been
parts of the album stick out.
yeah. This could have been a 10 song record for me and been okay. But 12 was fine.
Yeah. To me, you cut Cure. If you cut Cure, Poor Twisted Me, that gets it down to 12.
Mhm.
And then maybe Thorn Within, that gets you to 11.
Yeah.
And then like that's tough because then like that 10th song to cut. Because like Ronnie, even though you have Ronnie low, Ronnie belongs on this album.
I think it fits this album. Now, if I do a load reload album clash, that might be the bit of the sieve. You know what we should do? That.
I mean, I'll cut it. Yeah, I mean, I'll cut that because like I need to make room for Low Man's Lyric.
Well, right. But again, different reasons though. It could be. Are we doing best on best songs on best? Doing that best based on what fits the record project. That's
right.
between the eye of the beholder. You know what I mean? But
right.
Yeah, we had to say number one. Of course, that's not a surprise. Believe me, number one is not a surprise at all. To be honest with you, because I think most people will agree that is the best song on the record. That is the magnum opus of Load, honestly. So, anyway, Tim, that was awesome. 2 hours of Metallica talk on Load. We should do.
Yes,
you know what? If you want to later in the year, we can do album clash. You want to of Load and Reload. I'm okay with that. So
that works for me.
That should be fun. And I'll lay out the rules and stuff for all that stuff. But it's yeah. I love the fact that we have like one song that like what the fuck? Like Ronnie that high, I have Ronnie that low, and then I have Jack Built that high.
Yeah,
that low.
And then like King Nothing, we're equally split on, but I think that's more just because, like you said, in the moment, King Nothing's not it for you, but like at any point it could be higher. Like,
yeah,
but we're
you know why I said top. You know, I said my top song could be a top 3 any day of the week. King Nothing could be a top 5 song once in a while on the right day. So
yeah,
but it's also telling you why this is my second favorite album of Metallica's anyway. For that reason, because it's so much stuff. There's a lot of filler here though at the same time, but it's like the top songs are still the top songs. You know,
the top is the top.
Yeah. So anyway, go ahead and plug, brother.
Catch me across all the podcasts if you want to hear me talk more about wrestling. Not so much like the X's and O's of what's happening, but more nebulous. Catch me and my best friend Marcus. Final Wrestling Place, available wherever you get your podcasts, including on Spotify and all your other podcatchers. finalwrestlingplace.podbean.com. Get you there. Hit the linktree / Final Wrestling Place 2. It has where we're all at on social media and the podcast, including the Patreon. On top of all that, catch me and other familiar voices to the Earnestly Speaking community. Big Jim, Ryan, intern Mark, Matt, all of us over there at 3CT every Thursday, live on Facebook, facebook.com/3count Thursday, always the number, never the word. And then on Tuesdays, our slice of life variety food, like not wrestling show that we are all prepared for and hate each other every week we do it. Check that out. That's always fun. And then if you are interested in like some older wrestling stuff, I'll give you the inside. There's a podcast out there called No Holds Barred. It's a part of the North South Connection podcast network, hosted by my buddies JT and Aaron. Right now, they're in the middle of a 1992 rebook for WWF.
Oh, that's not a good idea, man.
I help them produce that. They are also going through every month and they are ranking the best pay-per-view matches of every month. So far, they are up to June.
From 92?
No, for the entire every match that took place in like March on pay-per-view from like that's ever been on pay-per-view. So like
Okay.
WrestleMania's 1 through 3, like whatever, if it was a pay-per-view in March,
Right.
they are ranking the best matches from that month across everything for WWE.
That's
So
interesting.
all of that's there. And then there's another podcast. It's on hiatus, but it's called WWE War. War as in the baseball stat, wrestling above replacement. It's a super nerdy look at breaking down every WWE pay-per-view on a plus minus scale, where like
That's
things
interesting.
above average gain a point and things below average lose a point. And it's not just the in-ring stuff. They take into consideration things like the atmosphere, commentary, notable moments of importance, and then like all-time good matches and all-time bad matches give like a plus or minus boost. And like right now, they look at every wrestling year in a seasonal format where the season starts the pay-per-view after WrestleMania and the season ends at WrestleMania. So tons of stuff there. Check everything out. YouTube.com/North-South Connection, I believe is it. But you can just search North-South Connection on YouTube and you'll see a bunch of stuff from there that isn't just mine, but I will shout them out accordingly. And the soon-to-be named network, the home of Final Wrestling Place. So much stuff over there too. If you're a comic book fan, if you're a wrestling fan, if you love international wrestling, we got stuff over there for you too.
Yeah. Wow, you're a busy guy. Like you and I in the same pocket, brother. It's all good though, man. It's just therapy for us, brother. It's just therapy, man. So
if I don't talk into this microphone, nobody's gonna talk into this microphone, so it's gotta be me.
Exactly, man. Anyway, good job by you, Tim. Great job as always.